Morning, everybody. My name is Jennifer. I'm a drug addict.
Hello, Jenn.
Early morning rushes before school and the sound of the school bus brakes as my child is being dropped off after school. That is my recovery, and something that I've worked very hard to get back. Being able to close my child's bedroom door doesn't sound like a big accomplishment to some people, but it's a huge recovery milestone for us. He no longer has to listen for tone of voice, read body language, or try to protect his mama from a man. He is learning to trust his mom, but it isn't something that happens overnight, or without tears, or without struggle. After 14 months of steadily working on myself in this program, I brought him home to a safe and stable environment where he could be a child again. He still doesn't want to go to sleep at bedtime. However, it's now because he wants to play just one more game on his Xbox, not because he's afraid that if he goes to sleep that I'll be gone. That is my recovery. I make a conscious decision to enjoy the life I live every day. I'm so proud to be his mom. I love you, Rayson, and that is my recovery. Regaining visitation with my oldest after 3 years of not having any physical custody whatsoever. Being able to go buy basketball shoes and school shoes and pants for him the same day he tells me to. The ability to meditate and pray over a situation instead of aggressively manipulating my will and my desire. Finding a peace within myself and being okay if it happens and being okay if it doesn't. That's a very powerful place that I've found myself in, and it's only because of my recovery that it's possible. I found my serenity after I picked Douglas up after not seeing him for 2 weeks. During the hour drive back to Ada with both of my boys in the car and my windows down, with all of the Bubba guess whats and the mama looks. If only for an hour, I found my happy place. This is my recovery, and it's something I've worked very hard to get back. As I look back on my life, I realized that I wouldn't be where I'm at now if I hadn't lived the life that I did. Getting myself back again was the absolute hardest thing I've ever done. I'm at peace with my life these days, and I'm extremely protective over this life that I've managed to build and the person that I've become. I find myself seeing part of myself in every person that walks through the doors at Mama T's. The exact same way that we see a part of ourselves in every newcomer that comes in the doors of our NA meetings. I never dreamed of growing up to help run and manage a homeless shelter. It's definitely not what I had in mind for when I left for college, but I now have a purpose greater than myself. You see, I didn't earn my qualifications for this job in college. What I thought was nothing but failure, my higher power turned into a purpose. Service work every day, sharing my experience, strength, and hope with others in the same situation that I find myself in October 14th, 2019 when I signed into this program. I kept hearing trust the process, but I didn't have a clue what the process even was. And I didn't trust anything, not even myself. I did decide, however, to have faith, the smallest amount of faith, that this program could help me save myself, even if I didn't understand the hows and whys. I kept showing up. I got introduced to the programs of AA and NA, which I thought only existed on television. I kept the willingness and the open-mindedness, and no matter what, I just didn't use. I remember the day that my mind became clear. I was sitting in ABHC in a phase 1 group, and the day that I recognized myself in the mirror again. It feels just as relevant now as it did then. I don't think personally that I made a lot of progress in phase 1. I just kept showing up, and no matter what, I did not use. Rarely having money for the Seventh Tradition basket, trying to have faith in the process, and knowing that I wanted a new way of life. Fast forward to February 9th, 2020. I had just phased up to phase 2 on Drug Court Friday. I had felt slight progress for the first time in a long time. 2 days later, I received a phone call after I got off of work that a fellow drug court participant that I had grown close with had committed suicide. My heart dropped to my toes. He had become my battle buddy, if you will. Every day, all day, it was drug court requirements and meetings together, and for the first time, I was feeling feelings like none before. I was terrified. I no longer wanted to die, and that could have been me. Life suddenly became immensely real and raw. He was there clapping for me to phase up one day and made the decision to end his life a short 48 hours later. I felt like it was a wake-up call from my higher power. I needed to dig deep and start being 1,000% transparent, not just going through the motions anymore. I've since been told that some addicts do not make it so that others can. It was then that I decided to be completely honest with myself for the first time and my counselors. And only then did I started to see a change in myself. I realized that even though they were mine, that my addiction wasn't special and that my trauma wasn't special, that I wasn't beyond the grasp of help. It was jails, institutions, or death, or find a new way to live, period. I had to accept and acknowledge my part in my problems. I couldn't keep blaming other people for my path in life that it had taken and was taking. I had to take responsibilities for my choices that had led me up to that point, and by doing that, I took control back in my life. I often wondered how my higher power would allow something so traumatic to happen to me and my children. But nothing happens in God's world by mistake, and I came to realize that. Sometimes it takes what it takes. Had that September day in 2017 not happened, I wouldn't have had this opportunity to find myself. I am now aware that if you don't know who you are as a person, that you will allow other people to tell you who you are and dictate your self-worth. You will start believing what you hear. You're already your toughest critic. I know because it happened to me, and recovering from that has required immense effort on my part. I had to start giving myself some grace and forgiveness, the same grace and forgiveness that I was willingly giving to other people, but I continually denied to myself. I'm deserving of grace, and I now know I'm deserving of love. I find comfort in the fact that I no longer have to go through anything alone. Not a single thing ever again. I have a support system in my recovery that is second to none. I choose to live life the NA way. Ada and A has given me some of my best friends and accountability partners. Women's Hope has given me women in my life that truly support and encourage me. What I once viewed as a punishment, I now see as a blessing. When I've had a day at work, when my mental health is having an off day, when I'm dealing with things beyond my control, when I'm doubting myself as a mother, I hit a meeting. If I need to vent, I vent. If I need to cry, I cry. Sometimes I just go and I listen. I know that these meetings are a power greater than myself. Somehow I spew all of my poison out in that meeting, in the meeting room, and go home to face another day with a renewed faith in myself, and that is a God thing. That is the beauty of this program that we work. God does for us what we cannot do for ourselves. To Judge Landry, Calvin, Tara, and Lindsay, thank you for this opportunity to get my life in order. I wouldn't have been able to continue raising my children from prison. I firmly believe I would still be living a life of addiction had I not accepted Calvin's challenge to complete his program. I appreciate your faith in me and for always having the best of intentions for me and my little family, even if it landed on stubborn ears. I owe my life to this program, and I thank you all for everything that you do. To ADHC, every single one of you are amazing at what you do. I have gained a different aspect of my recovery dimension from each one of you. Thank you for setting me up to succeed after this program and for sincerely cheering me on in my personal endeavors I undertook. When I realized that you guys weren't there to harm me, I was finally able to trust sharing the tough stuff with you guys. Thank you for hearing me and helping me find the best version of myself. To my Mama T's family, you've been there since day one of this journey. I've never taken the faith and trust that you've had in me lightly. Thank you for supporting me, for employing me, for cheering for me. Miss Patty, thank you for praying for me. And for allowing me to live my recovery out loud so that other addicts don't have to die. Kenton and Curtis, thank you for stepping in and being there for me when I didn't have a sponsor. I was going through some tough times in life when I was questioning my self-worth. You two men stepped up and loved me when I didn't love myself, and I will forever appreciate that. For loving my kids, for taking us as we are, for taking us fishing, for never expecting anything in return. You guys are awesome, and I love you both. Curtis, you've probably been the person that has impacted my recovery the most. Please don't think that your recovery is in vain, sir, because it is not. I admire the program that you work, and I respect you for being a genuine friend to me and my children. May this just be one of the many celebrations that you're around for, Kurt. Ronnie Nicole, I'm so glad that I get to do life with you. You're priceless to me. You're the one who walks in unfazed into my mess and plops yourself right down in the middle of it. To the one that hears I'm fine and you show up anyway. The one that hugs my children and loves my children as if they were your own. The one who knows when it's time to ask the tough questions and helps me make the tough moves. You also love me when I don't love myself. always there standing up for me or ready to throw down for me. Thank you for showing up and for lacing up your boots, sister. My boys and I love you, and we absolutely do recover. To my dad, I'm fully aware that you're probably not going to make it today, but I know that you're proud of me nonetheless. As a fellow addict, you're more than aware of this struggle. I know all too well what I've put you through over the years, and how hard it is to love the person and hate this disease. I will always love you and be your baby girl. I will also protect my sobriety and my children from the chaos with every breath in me. To my mom and my sister Michelle, there are no words. Sorry just doesn't cover it. And I'm forever thankful for you for stepping up and stepping in to help me raise my boys when I mentally or physically just wasn't capable. Even if I held it against you for most of my adult life, I was the definition of hurt people. And instead of owning my addiction, my faults, and my shortcomings, it was easier for me to spew anger at you both. And I use the word spew lightly. It was more like a rote. I'm forever thankful that you never counted me out and never stopped praying for me, and that you loved me through it all, even if I was disrespectful and hateful and a self-centered brat. To my boys, my man children, Douglas and Racing, I have always and will always love you more than air. I'm sorry that you ever had to go through what we went through. I realize now it was more than just me that suffered. Your shoulders have carried matters that did not belong to you, including myself. You are the most precious things that God ever gave me, and I promise to love you and to protect you both. You will never have to protect me from a man ever again, guys. I strived every day to make you guys proud of me. You are both absolutely my heart, and I love you endlessly. Before my grandpa passed away October 2020 with 64 years of sobriety, I promised him that I was going to go make myself a good life. And that's exactly what I plan on doing. With 887 days free of all mind-altering substances, I respectfully ask this court to graduate me from my drug court program.
CF 2019-109 and CM 19-319. State of Oklahoma versus Jennifer Miller. And Mr. Thurman, you have an announcement to make?
State moves to dismiss and expunge all pending cases of school age.
You guys are here for me, please stand up. Kenton, Curtis, Snake, my sponsor Linda, who stepped in to sponsor me when I found myself without one a couple of months ago. My sister Michelle, John, Jamie, my man-child Douglas, Arnie, Nicole, Shoshone, Britt, Jeff, Rayson Miller, my mom Cheryl, my nephew Elijah, Miss Patty Larimore, Misty, Mariah, Kyla, Bridget, Ashley, Morgan, Adrian, Miss Lisa. That's everybody.
Thank you all for being here.